and welcome to this episode of the Wealthy Warrior Leaders podcast. So I'm Dr. Vidya and I am joined by the fabulous Dr. Ola. And I'm so excited to have her here because we need to be Facebook friends for forever. I think we even convinced ourselves that we might work together, but we actually haven't. And so Facebook is coming alive. But on a serious note, I really am excited to talk with a fellow female entrepreneur, women in leadership, not actually in medicine. We're talking about entrepreneurship, which we're both extremely passionate about. So Dr. Ola is in the network marketing industry. She's a professional. She's a top leader. She's an NHS consultant turned wealth and leadership mentor, and she's helping professionals to reinvent themselves. Okay, this is in their life. This is in their business. And this is really to do this without burning bridges or burning themselves out. So welcome, Dr. Ola. So excited to have you here. Do introduce yourself further and let's get going.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vidya, for having me on. And it's definitely the power of social media that turns strangers into friends and friends into family, because we've been connected for so long on Facebook, but we're just getting to have a conversation now. And just the last 5 minutes where we were kind of like preparing for this, it was just rolling naturally, and we felt like we've been friends forever. So yes, this is one of the powers of like the hidden benefits of business that I had discovered, is that when you start putting yourself out there and building your network with intention, you just attract a lot of like-minded people who just feel natural to have a relationship with and have a friendship with. So thank you so much for that introduction. I feel very humbled. I used to work as an intensive care and acute medicine consultant in the NHS, but I moved myself from working by the bedside to working by the beachside, making a living by living. I came across this travel network marketing business opportunity in COVID in 2020, and I got started with it because when I looked at it, even though that the planes were grounded, I felt that this is going to take off, and I got started, and here we are today. I have managed to replace my income, leave my full-time job within 3 years, and now I am, touch the wood, living the dream, feeling very blessed. Thank you for having me on today.
You're most welcome. That's so beautiful to hear. And I think we were saying beforehand how, many people, many of our colleagues even may even be listening to this as they get off a night shift or, in their lunch break or whatever it is. But we also want to talk about how do you actually implement this, right? Because there are so many amazing opportunities, right? But it's more about then the peak performance and the success, which isn't actually hustle and grind. It's actually kind of the opposite. I think like just being calm, but you've made a decision and like, this is now my lifestyle. Right, like this is my lifestyle. I'm talking to you. This is me building my business. Right, I'm in my lunch break, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm having my lovely coffee. I'm chatting with a girlfriend. And I'm like, this opportunity, we would not be talking if not for maybe our like 3 a.m. maybe decision moments. Right, of like, right, I need to like do something about this. So see like the blessing. See how Dr. Ola also used like her intuition, right? Because she was like, I could see this is going to, because there are so many amazing business models and opportunities and they will work, right? Like I know you want to be like, they do, but you do have to pick one that aligns with you, and then you have to just there is work involved, guys, right? Like, sorry, don't switch off, but like there is work involved, okay? But it is nothing compared to say medicine, right? Compared to, in my opinion, like motherhood, it's got 2 little boys, like it's, you've got mentors, right, like Dr. Ola and myself, to help you, to literally give you a blueprint, and then, like you have to do it. So leading into the first question, so you were a doctor, and you're now an author and business leader. I'm going to talk about GoPro as well. But what made you question, so initially, maybe that 3 a.m. moment, the traditional definition of success?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I think that's where a lot of high performing professionals get trapped and get stuck, because they think, well, I should be feeling good because I'm successful by all the kind of like the measures that society tells me, like I've ticked all the boxes. And that was the point that I got to 3 o'clock in the morning, sitting there in bed wide awake, going like, I need to get up in like 3 hours to get to work. Why am I not sleeping? Well, because my brain is kind of like going like, why am I not feeling fulfilled? I've like ticked all of the boxes. I should be feeling on top of the world right now. But really is that the definition of success isn't what used to work for success 20 years ago isn't what it's working nowadays, especially with how our lives have changed, the demands of our lifestyle have changed as well. And I think what made me question it in the first place is that although I've ticked all the boxes, I wasn't really living the life of my dreams or the vision of my life, so to speak. And the life of my dreams, I don't want to get people confused here. It wasn't getting on private jets and having mansions and flashy cars. My vision for my life was to be able to spend time with my family, to feel good in my own skin, to feel fulfilled, to feel rewarded, to feel that I can buy things without looking at my bank account. I mean, like, you think that you'd be able to do that once you're qualified as a doctor. But I was like, I've ticked all the boxes, but I still don't feel that I am successful. So there's a misalignment here. And that's what made me question it and go like, well, actually, I need to redefine what success means for me.
Yes, absolutely. And I think also culturally, I mean, I'm not quite sure in terms of your background, but for me, being Sri Lankan, like we have like the Sri Lankan like UCAS form, right, of like medicine, KFC, accountancy, law, like this is your UCAS form. There's no other options. I don't know. But joking aside, that was the ticket, right? And it still is, right? But at that time, it was, especially for things going on for us culturally, whether it's back in the lineage and all, civil wars and just many things going on. It was like education is the passport, right? And it puts you on a level playing field. And I know, my dad having, really experienced a lot of racism coming here. So I was a gynae consultant, and then GP in the 80s and all of that. But they were like, it doesn't matter, we're here, and that was it was very different. And I'm not saying it's not the same now for other people in different seasons of life. So I'm not saying that. And I'm educating my kids, right? So it's not that. But even now with my kids, right, when we're doing like our maths, Sri Lankan, right? So so kind of like, I just, like doesn't be about it. Obviously, I don't say that, but I'm just like, it is a different world now.
Yes.
Right. And I'm very keen on teaching entrepreneurship, or I'm teaching them what I'm learning. It is a different world. And I actually now think entrepreneurship, like do the education, don't stop that. But entrepreneurship, I think, is a beautiful level playing field. Like it's good. It doesn't matter your background. It's a great level playing field. You all have to put the work in. It's not that hard work, guys, but it's beautiful, right? And such an opportunity. Do you find that as well? That when people are coming in, like it's part of your team and when you were starting?
It's incredible. And like the thing that I find is like, I find entrepreneurship is like a personal development plan attached to a compensation and a payment plan. And one of my thinkings is like, because at the beginning I was questioning, like, why don't they teach us about entrepreneurship at school? But then later on, I realized that they don't teach us entrepreneurship in school because we wouldn't have gone into jobs. Like, we wouldn't have been, running the system and being part of its machinery, so to speak. It's absolutely incredible. And if I knew about business before 2020, before I started my business venture, then I probably wouldn't have continued to CCT and beyond, just because it offers so much in terms of personal growth, being uncapped, whether that is in your potential, in your ambition, in what you can achieve, the legacy that you can create, and also the income that you can create as a result of it.
It's incredible. I mean, I think it's so free. When people talk about freedom, it's financial, but it's also that emotional freedom, right? It's not like it tests you, doesn't it? To be like, are you all right with being just Vidya and not Dr. Vidya? I mean, obviously, like I use that as my branding, but equally, I did have to ask myself that question of like, okay, like initially it was like, who am I? And am I good enough? I'll be honest, am I good enough? Is it okay? Because you grow up with this feeling of like, oh, it's an identity shift, and that's you can still keep it. You can still, like I enjoy medicine, but I enjoy medicine more now. I'm not saying this is a different conversation, but what I'm saying is interesting. I had to ironically let go of it.
Yes.
And actually, a lot of the conversations I have with my patients now, because I'm very passionate about mental health and healing, is I'm like, I don't actually need to be a doctor to have this conversation with you. I mean, this could be like my YouTube channel, this could be my book, but they're coming because of that in their head. They're like, oh, she's a doctor, so it's their own belief patterns. But I think the same as doctors coming in, professionals coming in, leaders coming in of this like narrative of it has to look a certain way. Well, I mean, you can still do that, but isn't it beautiful to actually challenge it and really open the world is your oyster? And you have a blueprint, right? And you have a blueprint of like, here you have a team. If you want that, you have community, right? So I think with that, I think it's so, and this is moving on to like legacy building, multiple streams of income, right? Which you can start. I always say, obviously, everyone's different, but you can start still doing your like 9 to 5. This is more like 24/7, but sell your soul. But you can still start, right? Doing something. You don't have to feel. I'm not saying take on this big risk, but you do need to start as well, right? So just tell me a little bit more about, you've built multiple income streams as well. So why do you believe that network marketing specifically is the most powerful, and that what you found with your experience and in leading your teams as well?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the best business model known to man, hands down, because it allows you, like you just said, it allows you to start it alongside something else, whether you are in a full-time job, whether you are in a job and studying, or just studying, or even if you're a new mom. I mean, being a new mom, being a mom is a full-time job, let alone being a new mom. That's like a double full-time job. But network marketing can fit alongside these other things without you taking on the risk of having to leave your job completely, or leave your source of income completely to try and take it off the ground. That's one of its incredible pros or incredible assets to the industry, is that it is flexible and it can fit alongside something else. So that's when I was like looking at it, I was like, well, actually I've got something to lose if I don't do it, not the other way around. Because during COVID, we were seeing a lot of people who were being made furloughed and being made redundant and lost their jobs. And even till this day, we see a lot happening in the healthcare environment, whether it's doctors or allied health, who their jobs are not secure anymore. There is no guarantee anymore, and you have to build multiple income streams before you need them, because when you're made redundant, or you're told like you've got a month left in your job and that's it, you just go like, it's not the time to be scrambling around to try and find something to build it up to pay you the full-time income that you're losing. So you're going to have to build up your well before you're thirsty, and network marketing allows you to do that. One of the things that I really love about network marketing, aside from it being, flexible, fits around things, it's low risk, low investment, high returns, but also it is a very patient industry. It will wait for you. It will wait for you to kind of like create time. It will wait for you to get better at, because a lot of people go like, oh, I'm not good at marketing, I'm not good at sales. And I'm like, you've been selling since you were about 1 when you started to learn how to talk. That is sales, right? So if you feel like you're not good at these things, or maybe you don't have enough time, and I'm saying this quote unquote, it will wait for you to develop those things, and then you can be good at it, and then you can create that income, and then you can grow with it. It's one of the best models, but also one of the patient models.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the thing. I think it's often with sales, and by the way, if anyone's heart rate like skipped a beat or had an ectopic, it's okay. We didn't swear. We didn't swear. This is before the watershed. It's okay. Take a deep breath. Sales is sacred. Sales is not a dirty word. Sales is good. And actually in medicine, we are selling every day, meaning that we are positively influencing. Okay, so influence is not a bad word, but helping our patients to decide, right? What does informed consent mean, right? We are informing them something for their benefit, or whatever it's medication or procedure or whatever it is, with the risks. So we're open, we're transparent. But ultimately, we are for their health. That is their best interest. It's what we believe is their best interest. So yes, there is a motive there, but it is for their best interest according to our own beliefs and our own training, etc. And it's no different to sales of whatever we feel is that opportunity, right? We feel we're not going to just, it's ethical. We're not going to just, if people have questions, okay, let's jump on a call just like this, right? I've never spoken before, right? But it's two human beings just connecting. Right? Even if we weren't doctors, we're just connecting, asking questions. Or you're not sure about that. Okay, let me find out. I'll come back to you. It's okay. There's no rush. You're not rushing. It's not desperation. But equally, the intuition, right? If it feels right. It feels good, right? Then, and it's that trust as well. So on that note, what do you feel, as we're talking about this wealth pillar and money beliefs as well, so what do you feel really separates out, like those that are, especially ones that just hit the ground running and are successful, and I really want to lean into those who are maybe like really in it with like their job and home life, or just, you know, caring for somebody or whatever it is, because I really felt that I started my own network marketing company and my own business and coaching. I think when my little one, the second one was 2 weeks after being born. Like, that's the most stressful way. But I was like very ambitious and I could see the opportunity, but obviously I knew it was going to take me some time. But like, I'm just going to start now. So what is it that you feel really separates? What have you seen in all of your team, the successful ones, and then those that are not failing, but just what is it they need to work on?
Yeah, and that's a great question. I actually just did a training on it on the weekend for my team. The thing that separates the people who like get to the top and the people who quit, let's say to speak, or they're not successful in whatever definition we might choose for that, is ownership. It doesn't matter experience, it doesn't matter the size of the network, it doesn't matter how much time they've got to put it into their business. It matters that they take ownership of their goals, of their vision, of they want to achieve, and they find a way. Right? Like when I started in my business, now obviously if people are familiar with the structure of network marketing, like you'd have an upline that introduces you into the business. My upline disappeared. So here I am, no business experience, starting this up, COVID time, everybody's being negative, and I'm just looking at it and going like, I'm gonna make this work. Like, I'm gonna make it work. Like, there was absolutely no doubt in my mind, and I took this ownership. I became resourceful. I started to look for answers. I started to kind of like, you know, no one was training me, no one was teaching me. I was like, okay, there is the University of YouTube. Let's go and do that. And I learned from that. And then I set up the system, set up the place for my team so that they don't have to go through what I went through. So like you were mentioning earlier, there is a system, there's a community, there is a blueprint, there is resources. Oh my God. I mean, like if I had what people have now, if I had it back then, it would be explosive. I can imagine how much more faster the growth would have been, but everything was meant to be at the time it was. But that's the thing. It's like, if you take ownership and if you take responsibility for your business and you go like, the buck lies with me, I'm going to make it work regardless of anything else, then you will become successful. There's absolutely no doubt about it. But if you sit there waiting, oh, my upline didn't do this for me, so-and-so didn't send me this, that kind of thing didn't happen. Well, are you making it happen? Because at the end of the day, this is your business.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I was just making some notes there as well. Yeah, I think that, you know, it's believing also in your own ability of whatever it is, however far you come with whatever it is that you're doing. Those are transferable skills. And by the way, you don't need to be like, a doctor or any of this. It's just human being skills, right? Like you said, that my children are developing that with just talking, making friends. Like, it's actually no different, right? But the difference is having, you know, for example, imposter syndrome is when you are like, you just don't have that same, it's like me thinking, oh, well, you know, Dr. Ola can do it because, you know, she's so pretty, so like confident, and just, okay, but we have the same mind, right? So, you know, actually that means if that person can do it, then I can do it, right? If Dr. Vidya can do it, Dr. Ola can do it, then, you know, there's no reason why anybody else on this planet can do it. And they're there to show you step by step as well.
Yeah.
But we have the same mental faculties. Okay, it's like a muscle, like consistency, right? Faith in yourself. It's a muscle. So yeah, I have like, I'm literally surrounded by like journals and personal development books, because yeah, it is a muscle, and it takes time to develop it and to be very intentional. And it can be making yourself vulnerable of like, okay, yeah, I really need to take over responsibility. But that's a good thing. It's not made to make it bad, because if you are 100% responsible, and not me, and not Dr. Ola, and nobody else, that means it is 100% possible, right? If it's dependent on like somebody else, like my kids or my husband or my mom or anybody else, well then I'm like at someone else's mercy, right? So this is good. And it doesn't have to mean hustle either. It means you make a plan that you feel good for you, that you think, okay, yeah, I think I can rinse and repeat this. This feels like something I could do, because I was let's stay up all night, and it worked in medicine, right? So it's a bit different with like little ones and this and all, and then you get frustrated, and then yes, it feels like, you know, you want to quit, but instead you're like, I've taken responsibility. This is me now. This is my lifestyle. That's a
Mm.
decision. That's a difference. This is my lifestyle now. So how am I going to make this work? And like you said, be patient, play the long
Yeah.
game. Like you can get actually ironically get faster results when you play the long game because you're a bit more like, I don't know, like do you agree? Like almost when you're slightly detached because you're like, well, I'm doing this. Like
Your
this
nervous
is
system is more calm. You're open to receiving at that point because you're not working from like a fear place. You're not working from scarcity. You're working with like, okay, this is my 2-year, 3-year, 4-year, 5-year plan. It's going to be okay. I don't need to be kind of like, oh my God, if I don't kind of like create this sale by the end of the month, then I'm a failure and I have to quit my business and all of that. And you kind of like build up all of these things in your head and go like, no, just calm down. Just like breathe. It's the long game. It's gonna come. It's gonna happen. It's like, you know, you're mentioning it's a skill. Everything is a skill inside of business. And the good thing about doctors is that we already have these skills. It's just that mindset shift around it because we already communicate. We already build rapport. Like you mentioned earlier about the informed consent, we're already in sales. We're giving people a treatment plan. We're answering their questions, and then we're following up with them. We already have the skill set. It's just a matter of a little bit of a shift of perspective, and then honing down on them so that we can grow them in the right direction, and we can develop our own independence in business.
Yes, absolutely, exactly. And I think when we follow that relationship-based model that we know so well in medicine and in many professions, right? That you're just connecting with somebody and you're earning their trust and you have your service, which in this case is network marketing or, you know, for me, coaching, whatever it is, that you are serving the world through this service and you're doing good and you're helping others, you're helping your team, providing, you know, financial freedom, emotional freedom. Like it's beautiful. So when you lean into the impact as well as income and how this is bigger than just you and I, and actually this is helping the world. And that might sound funny to some people who are like, oh, it's just a side business. But for me, I'm like, I find it for me, I'm like, I get offended. People say it's a side hustle. Like sometimes it helps, right? But you want that mentality of like side hustle. Okay. If sometimes it can help like get you in the groove, but it's not sustainable. Like I actually get really, I'm like, no, this is like a part of me. Like I can't like it. Even if no one else listens to this, right? Obviously I'd be mad not to. But like still like this, even just for me, it's like nourishing my soul. It feels good, you know, and even for like the patients I'm going to see, like, you know, straight after this, it's a elevation of like vibration. Even for them, it's a beautiful effect. And also I've been very intentional with like who I have on this podcast, right, and who I speak to. I'm not scared of speaking to others who don't believe in business or anything else, but I also am like, I don't want to waste my time. Okay. Yes. And that's the scarcity. But like, yeah, I'm like, I'm grateful for your time. I'm grateful for my time with my kids. I'm grateful for all of that. So I'm grateful I get to curate my day as well. And I think that is an incredible ripple effect. And we get to, you know, be wealthy warrior leaders in our incredible services as well. Right. So what I wanted to ask you was also is we talked a bit about this already, but like the kind of, we talked about the identity shift of leaving medicine, right? How, and it can even lead into self-worth and self-esteem and that side of things and taking responsibility. So I'd love to talk about like the identity, but also how this new identity, or shall we say we are remembering really who we are, can also prevent us from self-sabotaging like the actual thing we actually want to do it, right? They want to do it, but there's some self-sabotage there. There's like a gap, like, you know what you need to do, this is what you need to do, but there's a gap there and I think that's the identity gap. I think what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think a lot of, if we're talking specifically about doctors, I think a lot of doctors struggle with the identity of like, well, if I'm not doing medicine, if I'm not being a doctor, then who am I? Because medicine takes so much out of our lives. We make the decision very early on in our careers at 18, and then it consumes us for the following 10, 15, 20 years or so before we start to kind of like start thinking, oh, actually, maybe I need to do something else, or you start questioning what the definition of success is. But then you're so afraid to let go because this has become your identity. And it is difficult, and I can totally relate to that. And guys, if you're listening, go through some coaching, go through some mentoring and work through it, because you are practicing as a doctor. That's not who you are as a human being. And you have to go back to what you were saying. You have to go back and find who you are, and you're going to have to think about who you want to be in your next chapter of life. And that's where the reinvention starts to come, and starts to kind of like feel like, okay, I'm a doctor by title, but I'm also a human being, and this is what my contribution to the world, this is what I want it to look like. And it just takes a little bit of work, and it's about finding our value as a human being, finding our place in the world beyond just the person who's taking the history and prescribing the medication to patients. There is a little bit, I think, from what the system does, how like the system runs, in terms of it makes us feel like we can't be responsible. It infantilizes us in some way, because there's always like someone else who's taking on the responsibility, or someone else ahead of us in the chain of command, and we kind of like defer the responsibilities to them to decide how our direction of movement is going to be. I think that's another thing that doctors need to kind of like just step back and realize that actually you're in charge of your own life, and it's not for someone else to decide that. And you need to do some work on your mindset around that area. But also that we get conditioned and we get trained so well that to get success, we have to trade our time for money.
Yes,
and after a very long time, that can become very exhausting. You go like, well, actually, I can be successful, but I'm going to have to put in all of these hours. So when you hear someone is being successful in business, or there's a potential that you can become successful in business, your mind works on that MO. It goes like, oh, well, how many hours am I going to have to put? Like, this is going to be so exhausting. So you become afraid of your own success. But what you don't realize is that business runs in a different way. It runs on leverage and compound, which doesn't happen in a work environment, in a job. So in a business, you can be doing a certain amount of time into the business, but if you've got the systems right, if you've got the leverage going on right, you will be paid a lot more for that little time that you have put in. So I think understanding the employee versus the business mindset is really important to help people to start taking that step forward.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because, you know, when you compound things over time, if you think about, you know, the very first patient you saw, right, as you know, so I think I just had to prescribe paracetamol, but it's a frightening experience. You know, I just, you know, I think I've been called like the worst FY1 ever. I just don't know what I was doing. But I just remember just being really like, it's ultimately it's experience, right? And then now if you're asked to do the same thing, it's like, oh, you could just do it like that, you know, in your sleep. And business is the same and so much easier, because first of all, you get to pick, right? You can delegate out other aspects. And also, ultimately, it compounds over time, right? Compounds over time. You have to do the right activities, right? So income producing activities. So we're not like the website for like hours on end, right? Nobody's looked at my website ever, but like, you know, have like 10K days. So it's not just the income that I mean there, but like it's the impact of other things, like listening to this and the DMs that you send out, or connecting, or calls. And again, understanding, like with patients, when you know that, for example, this patient, like, you know, she's like never gonna, she's just not interested. She's basically opted out, but she hasn't said that. Same thing in business. Like you understand almost like just from the messaging, like everything, all the non-verbal cues, you can understand, like, it's okay, this is probably not going to be for them. Like, let's just have a chat and see. So you're still using your intuition. Like, don't forget that, you know, we suddenly have like the brain and like, we just do whatever someone else tells us to do. Like, no, like this is taking responsibility for your life with the CEO of your own business, even if there's like no income yet or no leads or whatever, but you're still the CEO, right? And I always say to my clients, like, I love you, but prove it. So if have you set up a limited company and actually create a business? Because that tells me if you're actually in the long game or not. And for certain things, I don't even let them in, like to my flagship or mastermind certain things. It's not in a harsh way, but it's kind of like, you know, my membership is only $47 per month. Like, you could just stay in that container. It's all good. There's no, you know, but if you read, I need, like, don't prove it for me, but for you. Yeah. Right. For the long game. And it's a decision. It tells something to your own mind of like, oh, okay, we're like really doing this. Okay. I was like, I don't know, I can just pretend, like not turn up to Zoom, it's fine. But when you're like, oh wow, okay, we're going all out, it's not just a money thing. It's like, I've got to think of a name, and it just snowballs in a very healthy, positive way, right? Because you get questions of like, oh, and like business insurance and this and that, and you're like, oh, it's no different to medicine. Don't we have indemnity? Don't we do training? Don't we have to put in the work, right? Don't we do annual like appraisals to just like keep up to date with like the latest trends? Like it's the same business model, but like just keeping up to date, right? So when you apply the same thing, you're like, it's no different, and it compounds. It's actually it's amazing, right? Like I love it. Like I'm doing 1 hour of business right now in my lunch break, and today is with my clinic, which I'm enjoying, and I've had to really curate my career to achieve it in that way. But impact, when you can see how many people are going to watch this, how many people, my YouTube channel, etc., is the impact and the income, and it's also, imagine capturing an amazing consult you've had with someone, and it's available for time, right? So you can't create that in medicine. It's beautiful, but it's very different, you know. So and as what I wanted to also ask you was, as we talk about that in terms of medicine, because we're both, you know, you've been a consultant, right? So the leadership in medicine versus leadership in business, and also I'd like to add in the Ola and how she leads her life now compared to how she leads her life then.
Oh, that's very good. That's a very good one.
This is for me as well. So it's not just Ola, it's the principles, right? It's the principles, you know, so I'd love to share, then I'll also be sharing like for me as well. Thank you.
Absolutely, that's a great one. I think leadership across the board has a lot of similarities, regardless if we are in medicine, business, in our own life, with our children, etc., relationships. But more so in business, what separates it is that you have to lead yourself first before you lead others. And it's the people who are not feeling fine. If you can't lead yourself, you're not going to lead others. And a lot of people get frustrated going like, oh, well, nobody's following me. And I was like, well, are you leading? And I think that's really important. And leading yourself when you start the business can be like what you were just saying there, Dr. Vidya, is like, did you set up your business? Did you kind of like look at what your income producing activities are? Did you come onto the training? Did you finish this? Did you do that? Are you owning up to where you want to be? Because you're going to have to be the version of this person you want to become before you become it. And that's, you have to lead yourself towards that next version of yours and not operate at where you are. Because if you operate at like the level of, I don't know business, I've just started, I'm a new starter, nobody knows me, nobody's going to follow me, nobody's going to talk to me, then guess what's going to happen? You're attracting that same energy. But if you operate from a place of like, I am leading myself, I am learning, I am developing, I am helping, I am impacting people in a positive way, that also is going to follow. All of that is also going to happen. Leadership in medicine, quite often we see it's at the lowest rank of leadership. It's at the position level. So leadership moves in different ranks, and it starts at position. Just because you've got a title, all of a sudden you're a leader. And that's what a lot of people struggle with, because they have the title, but they have absolutely no idea what they need to do with it. But people have to follow them because that person has the title. But when you come into business, you don't follow that. People have to see that you've got results, that you're able to help them get results, and then they're going to start following you. So I think those are the key differences that you kind of going to have to notice if you're shifting from medicine into business. You're going to really have to be aware of it, because you can't just carry your clout. Yes, you can carry transferable skills, but you can't just carry the clout of a previous title into business unless you actually have the underlying qualities of a leader.
Yes, absolutely. And it can go either way, just like with anything, right? There are people who it's like instant credibility of like, oh, okay, you're a medical doctor. And there are people who just hate doctors, right? Like, you are the everything in the world and I hate doctors. And so it can go either way, right? Like, you know, and whether you decide to do, and network marketing is absolutely not a scam, but any business model, I promise you pick, somebody will call you, you know, a scam. I've been called a witch, you know, and all sorts, you know. And so it's just like, ultimately, there is that law of duality, like opposites, right? Just like You can have like patients you really connect with, and some that I don't know why, but there is just a personality clash. Like, it's okay. It's not actually personal. It's just for human beings. Right? And I think if you just carry that aspect of it along, but like you got through it and it's fine. But equally, it's for me, leadership is an identity. Like it is a frequency, but there's work involved with that. Like, what are the thoughts that version of me is thinking, that I'm predominantly feeling, with like emotional regulation. Like, okay, I'm feeling a bit nervous, but this is okay. This is growth, so it's okay, right? This is different. So it's kind of like SHO level, right? Of like business, like that's okay. I get it. I've got some work I need to do, like learning off these examinations. Like, you just have to sit down and learn it, right? And then you have to practice, like getting on calls or whatever it is, and then it becomes easier, right?
Yes.
And so I think that's important to kind of, it's okay. But sometimes you have to be like, actually, I know exactly what I'm doing. And if I don't, like the nice guidelines, you can look something up, right? Like, actually, that's quite nice. People trust you more. But I think a leader also, a true leader, leads with love for themselves. They don't rule with fear. That comes to scarcity of like, oh, I want to know everything. You never know everything. You just have to lead with trust, and that you will do the right thing, which might be like, oh, I'm not quite sure about that. Let me get back to you. And then you get back to them, obviously. Right? And you organize and you have it all set up and everything. So I think I would totally agree. It's an identity piece. And that takes a bit of work, but I think it's fun work, right? And you can see how much you're changing. Like, wow, I didn't react this time. I responded. I can feel the difference, right? And like you said, it's what you attract. You'll start to find people, it's not magic, but you will find people who are like, oh wow, like that really resonated with me, because it's kind of like a belief they're having, but they're watching you grow through it in real time. So it's like, oh yeah, that resonates. But it's because you had to go first, which is what? Being a leader, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, you're like, I'm scared. Go back to my videos, Facebook, YouTube, 2019, when I was doing, network marketing and coaching. I just started. I'm like breastfeeding my little one. You can't see on the video. Awful lighting, background looks awful. And I was like, I'm doing a Facebook challenge. I had a coach, right?
Yeah.
And I challenge you to do 30 days. No one's forcing you to do this business. You don't have to do this. You can be in maternity, but you said you want to do it, so do it. So 5 minutes every day, go live, and it'd be like 4 a.m. And it was dark. It's like really grainy, and you could go back and watch it. I had no idea what I was doing, but you can see the growth, right? You can see the growth. People messaging me like, I actually really appreciate that. It's like, it looks awful. I'm like, oh, yeah, thanks. But I actually appreciate that, because it shows, like, I can see the growth compared to like now, and I'm still growing, I'm still learning, I'm still growing. That is actually a good thing, right? People want to see that. They want to think, oh, well, that means I can do it as well, like, and you can do it your way, as well. So and finally, I just wanted to I mean, there's so much more I want to ask you, so I don't want you to go but I might have to do a follow-up. But what I wanted to ask you was similar thing, like when you were starting, like that kind of growth mindset, like money mindset, beliefs, even the investment. It's sometimes not even the amount, but I mean, yes, sometimes it can be a large amount, but like just everything, all of that comes up to like where you are now as well. So like a core money belief and growth mindset that you, looking back, that you think, this is the shift that I went through.
Yes, and you quite rightly say it, like it's not always a lot of money to start in network marketing. Depends on the opportunity, obviously, but it's not really the money. It's about it's about starting. It's about trusting yourself to get started and to do it. And I think one of the biggest money beliefs that I had to work through, I didn't realize that I had it, but then later on I kind of like reflected back. I was like, oh, okay, this is something we need to work on. It's like, I grew up, and I think a lot of people around my age, in my generation, we grew up thinking that if you have money, then you're a bad person. That's through TV shows, cartoons, what our families would be talking about. Like, you'd have to do something bad or be a bad person to have a lot of money. So then when we're now setting out to become a business owner and we're wanting to make money, then we just automatically think that we're a bad person, or we're going to have to do something bad. And then that clashes with our internal compass. And subconsciously, we're having this fight that's exhausting us. We're not knowing even we're having it in the first place. And I think that's really important to kind of like have a good deep dive into the limiting beliefs when you first start. Like, what are the things that you believe, and then how can you counter evidence them with like some real facts or some real life stories, and how can you reassure yourself to be moving forward and going like, well, actually I can be a good person who has money and does good things in life. And I think that's really important to have as a conversation at the beginning, because majority of the people who start off in network marketing, like even they do take the action and they do get started, a lot of them have that phase where they just do nothing. Like, you know, they signed up, they're in the business, but they're not doing anything. And you just go like, what's going on? And the reason that they've stopped is because there is some sort of limiting belief going on that has been reactivated. They may be aware of it and they just don't want to say it, or they may be unaware of it altogether. And that's why it's really important to kind of like couple mindset training alongside of income producing activity training, obviously, just to help people to kind of like think through these things. And for me to work through it, it made me realize that actually I do have these kind of blocks and I need to work through them, and I have to move forward.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And I had them saying, I think, you know, when you do coaching and they go through all the different, I was like, oh, I have all of them. Do I win anything? A special case. But, you know, it really was interesting because sometimes you have this sort of almost like this like cloak of like, I've got this on, or like, you know, and you know, I'm a Dr. Vidya, and it can also be mindful. It can almost be like a bit of a mask, right? Which is okay. But when you write it down, and for me, I've actually like written it down, but it was very much like imposter syndrome, comparison, even though you know, don't compare, but your mind is like a reflex. So comparison, staying in your own lane, especially when you're in that, well, in any phase of the business, I would say. But like, yeah, to stay in your lane, and you're in the right place, you're on the right path, and then you get to a point which is just rinse and repeat, and almost a bit like not boring, but you're like, oh, so that's all I have to do. Like, and you're like, yes, you just have to keep doing it, right? And you know, discipline, I like to call it, right? So it's discipline, but like, yeah, enjoy it. This is the lifestyle. Enjoy it, right? And have fun. And I think just again, like taking ownership, like you said. So taking ownership means, right, well, if I'm doing this, then like let's have fun. Let's do the work and let's have fun, right? And make it like a lifestyle, right? So what I would love to, I want to talk more about this. Might need to have a follow-up, but I'm sure there are many people who are watching this who are thinking, right, I've been seeing, you know, Dr. Ola, I've been seeing Dr. Vidya, like, okay, I need to do something now, right? Okay. So where can people reach out to you? And if you also want to, if there's anything else you want to say about your specific business opportunity, and then I'll talk a bit about mine at the end. How can they reach out to you straight after this? They want to get going.
It's been great. It's been great having this conversation. We definitely we can talk for hours about this because it's just an interesting and big topic. If people want to know more and they want to reach out to me, then I am on Facebook as Ola Abbas, but I'm also on Instagram and LinkedIn as Ola Van Steen with my married name. But you can also look at elevate.com/wealthy travel, and you can find information about how you can make an income from travel, how you can travel more, travel smarter, and create wealth and legacy from it.
It's beautiful. Thank you. And so they can just maybe send you like a direct message, like
they can DM me straight away, or if they go onto elevate.com/wealthy travel, you can DM me straight away from there.
Perfect. Lovely. Thank you. And for those who are interested in my coaching, essentially I have a leadership mentorship container that starts at just $47 per month. You can cancel anytime. And this is really all about, I'm really all for exactly what we talked about. So creating leaders, or really that leader within yourself, to heal, to earn 6 figures and beyond, and to lead. And it is for you leading yourself, as we talked about, your family and your service, right? So inside of the membership, inside of Legacy Leader Circle, we have network marketers, we have coaches, we have doctors, we have psychiatrists, we have Reiki masters, we have people creating their own memberships, we have people who are doing all of it, right? We have people who are being mentored by Ola and me, and people who are doing nothing completely different, like real estate, or, you know, setting up a private clinic in Dubai, right? Like, is there anyone left in England? Anyway, but it is just me with my afternoon clinic. That's it, the only doctor left. But, you know, joking aside, it really is about entrepreneurship, okay? it is also the career path there. If you do want to stay in your career and do it all out in that way, that is totally fine. But we need to develop that leader within, okay, the wealthy warrior legacy leader. So in my opinion, I would suggest you do both, right? So reach out to Dr. Ola, find out about the wealthy travel community, and then also the leadership coaching as well. In my opinion, I think it goes beautifully together, right?
Sounds like a great combo. Sounds like a good deal.
Yeah, it's a good deal. Yeah, just like naan and dal. On a serious note, I think when I started network marketing, I did find that coaching really helped. But either way, reach out, trust your intuition. If you watch this, take the next step. You owe it to yourself, right? With whatever way feels right for you. Ultimately, in my opinion, very spiritual. I personally believe that if you've had the vision, you don't need to know the how. Okay, yet we'll tell you the how, but God will provide provision for the vision, right? And there is going to be work involved. Okay, there is no true passive income. Even rent, you have to build it, right? Okay, so you build a house, you build the systems, but like it's so easy now. It's so rinse and repeat now in comparison to like 20 years ago when like our mentors had to like knock on people's doors, right, and send out like physical. Like it's so easy now. You can do literally everything from your phone. Okay. And you don't need to be like, messaging like, your grandma and all of that. Like, it's very different now. Okay. It's very different. Actually, she did join opportunity, bless her. But, but the point I'm trying to make, all right, the point I'm trying to make is that it is your way. Okay. It is your way. Opportunity you pick, they all work, but you have to do the work and you have to pick and just move forward. All right. Yeah. So I'm sending you so much love and light. Don't go away, Dr. Ola. I just want to say goodbye, but I just want to say thank you so much for all of you joining, and reach out to Dr. Ola or myself or both, and I'll catch you on the next episode.